there was a lot of guys in the neighborhood had good guitars. So,
Yeah.
there was a guy who had a really great Strat that I played early on. He had one of the SG looking Les Paul and all, original stuff.
Yeah.
I had a 59 Les Paul that I got from this country guy, $300. And then, of course, this guy said, he knew I was in Freddie King. So I said, man, you want this 335? This red 335, I got 67. And I did. I okay. He takes the $300 59 Les Paul.
Oh, man.
Back then it was maybe $4 or $5 grand. He knew that I did, and of course now $500,000. But they were heavy, and I liked it. But at the same time, I liked Freddie King and this red 335.
Yeah.
I ended up that red 335 I gave to Joey Long. Accidentally, kind of. I gave it to him on his birthday.
You could accidentally give Joey stuff.
Well, I'm glad I did. Billy gave him a custom-made guitar. It was one of these Christmas things, and it had his name. He gave one to Muddy Waters, Joey Long, and him. And I was with him when he gave it to Muddy, too, and
No kidding.
Joey. But I went over there, and Billy gives him that guitar, and I had my 335 and some other guitar, and he can play this one a while, too. And he thought that I'd given it to him also.
Everybody's giving me a guitar.
Yeah, and so, that one, we miscommunicated on that one. And so I never, I'm not going to ask it. Ask for it back. And he played it till the end, and it was a great story. I was hoping
He liked it better than the one that was really
He
good,
liked
too.
it, actually. It was a great one.
Price is right.
That's also the story about how you got, the first time you got beat out of a guitar, it sounds like, with the Les Paul.
Oh, yeah, the Les Paul. The guy was smarter than me, and
Yeah.
he knew that this is really valuable, and I was just thinking, it's kind of heavy.
Yeah.
But, because of all the early
It
Les
was the
Pauls.
same exact story. There was one of the better guitar players here in town was a guy named Leonard Arnold when I got here.
Oh, yeah.
And I had bought a Les Paul with a flame top 57 or something like that. And it was about the time Cream was making a thing, and I really wanted this SG guitar, and he said, I'll tell you what, I'll trade you your Les Paul for my SG and a Pro amp, a Fender Pro. Okay, done.
Man.
And he still lords it over me. Every time I see him, he says, I got your guitar.
I lost some good stuff.
He says, that's my retirement. I said,
Yeah.
God almighty.
I just go in,
Man.
I traded a lot of good stuff. Not, you used to get them so cheap you didn't realize.
No.
The guitars and amps I could get for $200 or $300 or thousands of dollars now. And
Man, when I was able, I played tellies because they were like $35 in pawn shops.
Yeah.
And I had all those 50s tellies. I mean, nobody wanted a telly down where I was at anyway. They didn't want, that was a shit kicker's guitar. And that's what I could afford, and I had many, that purple 57 I played for years with Ike. I paid $35 for that in the pawn shop.
Wow.
And I had it for played it for 40 years.
wow.
that was a great band, too. When you were in that group.
Ike's band?
Yeah, that was a great band. That really,
Was that a country band?
they covered it all, man. They really did. Jimmy Reed, great country.
Yeah.
Like Willie would do country. It's all blues soaked.
Well, Ike had left Johnny Winters,
Right.
and he wanted to become a country singer. He'd be a front man. And
You doing it.
he was doing
Had
it.
he done the Cotton Eye Joe yet at that point? Or was
No.
Still
that
to
was
come.
later. That was after we got to the Winchester, and he was, and he did Shed So Many Tears.
Yeah.
And it kind of got a little recognition. And he had the Nashville guys, and then the Cotton Eye Joe and the Schottish and Honest Bowl of Red. Remember he had
Yeah.
all. He was a
I've
kind
got
of,
some great old recordings of him and with Johnny on guitar too. Johnny playing country.
Yeah.
Really great.
Oh, I tell people that all the time, and they don't believe it. I
No,
said,
Johnny's
man,
a great.
he'd
Chet
come in-
Atkins is his first.
Oh, he'd come in and
guy,
blow
man.
me
He
away
played
on that.
great blues country.
That's insane.
Over this stuff, man. Some of my favorite stuff I used to listen to is kind of bootleg. I think it's out now on computer. Someone, since he's dead, somebody's got it out now.
On home
Making
cooking.
No, I think it's that. That was the other guy. No, somebody.
Roy,
somebody's
yeah.
gotten some. I think the rights to that and done it right. It looked like the packaging. It wasn't that guy. That all that stuff.
Roy Ames' home cooking label.
He was Steve
Yeah, are you
Everybody's
familiar?
I'm familiar with that.
Man,
guy.
when I was with Ike, Roy
Sure.
would call on like a Monday, and he'd go, "Man, come over. I want you to come over here and put some guitar on some stuff I got."
Roy was saying that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, I knew he was seedy, but I was working for Ike, and he was managing Ike, and I'd go over there, and he'd have, man, I played
That's
on.
right. I forgot that. Ike and him was managing Ike.
Oh, yeah.
That was not a good thing.
No, that was not a good thing. But he'd have, man, I played on Peppermint Harris stuff and Albert King and Chuck Berry. He had all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't think nothing about it. I was in my 20s somewhere or something like that, and I didn't think anything about that, and put all that stuff. And the best part of that whole story is he had a bunch of Johnny stuff.
Sonny hated that guy.
Tell me about it. And he had a bunch of Johnny stuff, and I didn't play slide. I mean, I had a slide, and I knew what slide playing was, but clueless. I mean, now I'm still clueless, but and he goes, well, this is, I want you to do some slide work here. I have this thing that Johnny did, and it's not done, and God, well, Johnny's dead, so you can't tell him, but yeah, so I played on some of it, and I mean, Albert King stuff and lots of people's stuff. And
but he had guys like Pete Mays too, right in the can. The Houston guys.
Yeah.
Joe.
A few years later,
Joe Hughes.
Some years later, after Roy Ames died, reading an article on an interview with Johnny in Rolling Stone, and he was saying, that's that home cooking stuff. That was a shyster guy that we got hooked up when we were young, and da. And he said he'd take outtakes, and he's telling the story of how it was, and he said, and I don't know who the hell he had playing slide on there. and he just ripped me one, man, and I never told him it was me. I mean, he ripped me a new one, man, and I just crumbled when I was reading that, and I'm like, oh my God.
Come up back then that I already knew from older musicians, or to tell you stay away from these people.
Yeah.
So I already knew not to sign even, well, I won't say some of these names, but
right.
since they're still, but some of them, I've heard an awful lot of bad experiences with almost everybody I know. So why do I want to sign up?
Right. Yeah, but you had to get with somebody.
Yeah. Well, I probably blew it. I turned down a few record deals where they were mad at me because they were sure that I was going to say yes, man, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But everybody I knew was going, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay then.
I'll
do it myself.
It's always a rough one. It's a really rough choice, but if a lot of people, they'll just dive in,
mm-hmm.
and even though they know that something's up, just because they want it that way.
Well, you're hopeful.
And I've often told younger people that I work with, and say, well, look, they're going, this is how the business works. It's set up, the publishing business, all of this is set up to screw young artists.
They don't know what you're doing.
And so what you got to do is, they're going to screw you. If you want to be in this business, you're going to get screwed, but you got to screw them back.
So wear something nice.
So but you have to screw them back. Just stay in there. Just stay in there long enough and kick their ass and make it work and to screw them back.
Just so many of them were shysters, and still are.
It hadn't stopped. We all have. I'm sure we've got stories about people that have gotten away with our money. I'm sure that we do. Haven't you, Alan?
It's all been good for me. No, I've lost many times where you just don't think about it and just write it off.
See, that's the deal.
I was happy with, it wasn't about money for me, well, luckily. But
that's
I loved playing music so much and getting to play, no kidding, when I was maybe 13 or 14. My dream was just to be around great musicians. Freddie King and all those guys, to be able to stand there and they're talking to me was like $1 billion check.
That's my point exactly, is when none of us that are our age and still in the business were ever in it for the money.
Right.
Because otherwise we'd have gotten out of it a long time ago. If money was a factor, we would never have stayed in it. We're in it because we're passionate about the music itself.
And we like money, don't we?
Well, yeah.
32nd birthday at Antonio.
Make sure.
Playing too.